Hi, my name's Michael Beale and I'm the first team coach at Rangers Football Club. I'm here to answer the questions for Ask the Coach. He came to England. He'd been retired about 5 or 6 months. He came to England, was meeting all different coaches and stuff. And someone that was with him, said, go and visit Mike. And he come and spent a day. And we had a day just talking about football, really. We only had a short session because it was the day before a match with Liverpool under 23s. And we shared ideas. And at the end, he said to me, what's your dream, Mick? When you're going to be a manager? And I said, well, look, I want to be a head of youth or a manager outside the UK. And that's where I see my destiny. But at the moment, I'm very happy at Liverpool. And then probably about a month to 5 weeks later, he called me out of the blue and said, would I go across? And I originally went across to say no, look around and to say no. But once I got there and looked, I just thought I would regret it for the rest of my life. It's really hard for me to express in words how amazing that was for a young British coach to go across and work there. The club that I went to work for is huge. It's the Man United or Liverpool of South America. The Morumbi Stadium is the second largest in Brazil outside the Maracanã. They also have an academy called Cotia, which is, it's had a wealth of top professionals come through. The latest one is Eder Militao, who we gave a debut to and went to Porto and now at Real Madrid. But down the years, it's like a who's who of football players that have come through, players like Kaká and stuff like this. So it was fantastic in terms of the club that I went to work for. The experience of living and travelling around Brazil and learning their culture about football, again, was an experience that very few will have, and I feel really privileged to have. There was issues with the language, of course, and you're coaching international players from Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, Ecuador, Peru. So there's a mix of cultures within that. The weather was very good, so the training time was completely different to maybe the UK when we have the wind and rain, so it was a lot calmer. And I loved the whole experience. My first game was against River Plate in Tampa Bay. So you're at São Paulo against River Plate a month after leaving Liverpool's under 23s coach. So that was just a bit of a surreal situation. I love that. And we've had the big games against Palmeiras, Corinthians. But my personal highlight was we played Santos away at the stadium where Pelé had played in his career. And we won 3-1. And it was the first time São Paulo had beaten Santos in the derby in 7 years. And that was a fantastic experience. And just my whole time in Brazil, it was only 8 months, but I learned so much. And it's took me on probably 50% in my coaching. It was a fantastic experience for me. In terms of the day-to-day training, I don't think there's much difference. It's obviously the demands that you place on older players and the intensity you train at, but I still think it's football. I think you have to understand that the players come to you and they really want to play football, so you shouldn't veer too far away from the game, and it's really that. When young kids get out of their mum and dad's car and they run to the pitch to start training, if after 15 minutes they don't have the same energy, that's definitely you as the adult that's got it wrong. But it's very much the same day in, day out for a professional senior football player. They're training every day at 10 or 10:30, and how you meet them with your personality and the practices that you select for them and how personal them practices are to them and their development is really, really important. And the one thing I would say to coaches who might make the same step that I've made the last couple of years is when you're working in an academy and you have a relationship with a young player, there's always an element of doubt in their mind. That if you say, come on, you need to work on X, Y, and Z, this might going to stop you foul, or that's going to stop you from getting there, or you need to improve your strength to a super strength. In the back of their mind, whether they agree or disagree, there's that moment of doubt where they think, well, I haven't made it yet. So maybe Mick's right, or maybe so-and-so's right. When you're working in the first team and the players are millionaires and they've earned, they've got the car and they've got the lovely house and the family and they have the status, now it comes down to their drive and ambition. So now you're making a suggestion to a player that's a very established player, maybe an international. It's a suggestion. So it's a different type of relationship. They won't jump at the same height as maybe some of the pre-first team debut players are. And then there's a group that obviously of players who have just made their debut, and how do you keep that look in their eye? How do you keep that motivation there? And how do you keep that drive in them to go and achieve more? And the unique one that I see with that is Trent Alexander. I think he still has the look in his eye that he had when he was leaving the 18s to come to me in the 23s and then to the first team. He had the first team debut was the start, and he had a number of targets he set himself to reach after that. And it's only recently he played his 100th game for Liverpool at 21, and I smile when I see things like that, because I know he'll be ticking these things off, and that's his driver. And I think that's it. You really are working with senior players now, and you're throwing options to them or a suggestion to them, and you'll really see the drive of the individual players. And I see that every day with Gary McAllister and Steven Gerrard, who I work with. I see their obsession to get better. I still see them go in the gym every day now. That's their drive. And I'm fascinated about how you can give that to people, or why some people have it and maybe others don't. It's been fantastic getting to know Steven. He's got real high standards as a human being, and the way that he carries himself every day. He's got fantastic self-discipline, and I think he really pushes that across to his players. He communicates fantastically well with both staff and the group. I think he also deals with the media very well. So he shows a lot of qualities that a modern manager needs to show. He shows real faith in his staff, but with faith becomes responsibility. So, he's brought in a team with him, and I think he's selected very, very well. He's brought Gary McAllister, myself, Tom Coleshaw from Liverpool, Jordan Milson as head of performance, Scott Mason as analyst. So he brought people around to really round off his own skills and to try and help him put his vision in. He has a real clean eye for recruitment and the type of young player that he wants to work with. So he spends a lot of time with them players on a one-to-one basis, talking and understanding them. And I think that's really, really important. And there's a real push within the club that people won't see from outside to put some real strong structures in place, around the building, around the stadium, the links with the academy. Ross Wilson coming in as sporting director has really helped that as well, pull all that together. But it's a pleasure for me on a day-to-day basis, because I'm learning as a football coach as one thing, but I also am obsessed with learning about the top players and why they stayed at the level they were for a long period of time. So some of the conversations I have with Steven and Gary around that I find really interesting. And as I say, he gives me a hell of a lot of responsibility on a daily basis to plan sessions, to put his vision into the team, and I'm really thankful for that. It's a fantastic club, and we've had some really, really big nights in the first 18 months. Some of the Old Firm games and some of the games in Europe have been fantastic, and there's probably too many to mention. Now, so that shows that there's been a marked improvement in the work that we've done.
To see the full Q&A and for more exclusive content from top-level professional and academy coaches, subscribe to the Coach's Voice Academy at academy.coachesvoice.com.